Hello and welcome to Jack the Reader. Today I'm unboxing a box, naturally, from an American friend of mine who was very kind and sent me a box of James Bond books by writers who are not Ian Fleming. I think they might all be Raymond Benson, who wrote a lot of continuation Bonds, but we'll find out. I've already opened the box. I opened it yesterday when I first got it, because naturally I just had to. But I will show you the open box now. There it is. And I'll take a look at the books one by one. One on the top here, Never Send Flowers. I put that at the top just because I really liked the blurb and the title and the cover. I'll read you the blurb. A single white rose with petals tipped in blood red. That was the anonymous calling card that appeared at the funeral of a murdered agent. But it wasn't the only one, or the only funeral. The ominous flower is the link to 4 high-profile assassinations, as Bond tracks a serial killer in a harrowing chase through Europe's biggest theme park. This time he has a sexy new partner named Flicker von Groos. Admittedly, I'm not crazy about that Bond girl name. Flicker, really? Flicker? That's up there with Christmas Jones from Die Another Day, the film, who's called Christmas because... Can I even say this on YouTube? She's called Christmas because she... Even though she comes more than twice a year. Ha ha ha. I remember seeing that with a friend of mine, the movie, when they were replaying it in my local cinema a few years ago. And because it's right at the end of the film, I think it's the very last line, the credits come up and I hear my friend just go, seriously? Which is the right reaction. Oh, and there's a last line for the blurb here. And the killer has 2 white roses reserved for them both. I like that blurb. I think I like it because, well, it's serial killer themed, and I like serial killer fiction. So that's the first one. Next one. Oh no, it's not just Raymond Benson. That one wasn't Benson either, that was John Gardner. So he's the other one in this box, and this is a John Gardner as well. Death is Forever. I'll read a bit of the blurb. They call him the Poisoned Wolf. Oh dear, not off to a great start. Still, at least they said dwarf and not the other term. A little man with A little man... Oh, I'm not even going to get through this. A little man with monstrous ideas, Wolfgang Wiesen was once the master spy of East Germany. Now he plans to drive Europe to its knees. In the name of Stalin, he systematically murders the members of Cabal, the West's secret spy network in Germany. No single man can stop the killing. That's why James Bond has a partner. She's Easy St. John. Really? You're just calling her Easy? Oh dear, that's up there with no, I'm not going to make a joke because I'll probably get in trouble from YouTube, of the CIA, and she's anything but easy. Oh, they even pun on it. There you go. I like the title of that one as well, Death is Forever. Now we're into the Raymond Benson's Never Dream of Dying. That's like a very old man book. It's Bond by Marina. Something about a Marina appearing on the cover of a book just makes it feel like a granddad read for me. What's next? Seafire, John Gardner. High Time to Kill, Raymond Benson. I think all of the Bensons might be white. Double Shot. We have some novelisations here, which I'm also looking forward to reading. I do like a good novelisation. And as it turns out, it's really not just Raymond Benson, because there are a few other writers in here. There's Anthony Horowitz, that I'll get to shortly. I like Anthony Horowitz, though I've not read as much of him as I'd like to. He also does Golden Age murder mysteries. Some of the best in the field in the 21st century. People who are really into Golden Age mysteries talk well of his contributions. So, of the novelisation, there's The World Is Not Enough. Tomorrow Never Dies, which I think might be the first Bond film I ever saw, and GoldenEye. Let's dig in a bit further. Also, I'll talk about this now. This might be the sauciest vintage collector's item. It's an American TV guide from 1999 that contains an exclusive original Bond short story by Raymond Benson. It also has this wonderful fold-out thing that's like a VHS club. So you'd send off and get cheap VHSs. Vintage guide smells really great as well. It smells like a hymnal in a church. Just old paper. As you might be able to see in this like classic titles thing, or available titles, there's Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery, which that being offered as like a VHS club pick, just that makes me feel so old. Because I remember that movie being all the rage when I was in, well, I guess it came out when I was in primary school still, but I remember it being quoted a lot when I was in secondary school, because I guess by then the sequels come out, The Spy Who Shagged Me, which my dad tried to convince me that shagged in America meant dance with, so the title was The Spy Who Danced With Me, which I think is just nonsense. I think he only said that to get out of explaining to me that shagged meant have sex. A weird tidbit from my life. We have another John Gardner here. Cold Fall. I'll read the blurb of this one. Their past includes the most deadly terrorist act in US history. Their plan for the future is the world's worst nightmare. They are the children of the last days, and America's last days are coming soon. But the US has a new weapon in this Cold War. A British import, codenamed 007. I like the plots of these Gardner ones. They're really good. Serial killers, cults. It shows that they were willing to expand beyond just pastiching Ian Fleming. I like the Ian Fleming Bond books a lot. I'm a huge fan of them. That's why this guy sent me this box of the other ones. Part of the reason I like them is I'm not a huge reader of spy fiction generally, but with Ian Fleming, the books kind of had almost more of a Victorian adventure feel to them. They were very eccentric in their plotting, with, you know, things that are typical Bond staples now that have been parodied to death, like lairs that are in volcanoes and weird mechanical beasts and just all sorts of really quite bizarre stuff. That's what I like about Bond, and that makes it for me. As well as the fact that just Ian Fleming was a brilliant writer, which put me off reading a lot of the non-Fleming ones for a while, because I was just like, nobody's going to reproduce that prose style. I did read eventually Kim Sherwood's, what was it called? Double or Nothing. That was alright. That was very well written, but it didn't have Bond in it. Which, I don't know, maybe this is like me being a bit of a Star Wars fanboy, as in like them just wanting the same thing over and over again, but it felt weird to me that it was a Bond book without James Bond in it. I don't think these will have that problem. The Man with the Red Tattoo, Raymond Benson. I'm guessing that was before The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by Stieg Larsson. The Anthony Horowitz one, The Mind to Kill. I think I did read this one. I think I read it when it first came out, because I remember some scenes from it. In fact, yeah, no, I did, because I didn't, although I liked it in terms of its writing, I'm not sure I cared for the tone of it. It felt very like drab in a way that I don't associate with Bond, or at least not good Bond. Another one here by Sebastian Faulks, who was famous for his World War I novels. Devil May Care. Another kind of old man cover, and then it's just a sexy lady with a gun. Forever and a Day, Anthony Horowitz. rigor mortis. I'm not sure I care for the Anthony Horowitz covers. They're a bit bland. I prefer the Gardner and Benson ones. But then there's a whole thing with like Pulp Fiction, where this is like another example. It looks alright. It's like a blood drop. It's, on His Majesty's Secret Service by Charlie Higson. So it's a blood spot that looks like a crown. That's fine. But pulp in general, the covers, I feel as though the covers are trying to make them look like literary fiction, like mainstream fiction, which I don't like. I like it when pulp advertises itself as pulp and has some sort of big garish covers. Solo by William Boyd. I've kind of noticed that when I look at the screen, things are reversed. I hope that doesn't affect your ability to look at the book covers properly. I apologise if so. Another Raymond Benson. 0-10. Another dragon cover. Oh, now we're getting into the slightly more esoteric stuff. This is Kate Westbrook with The Moneypenny Diaries, Guardian Angel, which looks like a romance novel. I'll read the blurb. Jane Moneypenny is the perfect example of chic sophistication and unflappable poise. She handles her cohort of unruly 00 agents with good-humoured grace. Yet, behind her polished perfection, she exudes a certain aura of mystery. Indeed, there is more to Miss Moneypenny than meets the eye. Sure there is. When she hears that her favourite agent, James Bond's secret Cuban mission, is jeopardised and his life in danger, she impulsively plunges into the glamorous, dangerous world of espionage to save his skin. And this one comes with a pull quote from Roger Moore. Calls it a damned good read. I wonder if they got Roger Moore to pull quote this just so like it would authenticate it to Bond fans. Not that I'm not trying to argue that like Bond fans are sexist or anything. I'm a Bond fan and I hope I'm not sexist. But it kind of looks more like a romance thing, so maybe Bond fans would be like, oh, I don't want to read a romance novel. But then they see Roger Moore's pull quote and they're like, oh, I'll trust those eyebrows. Another John Gardner. Ian Fleming's master spy, James Bond, in License Renewed, which I'm guessing is a reference to the Timothy Dalton film License to Kill. I don't think there was ever a Bond story by Ian Fleming called License to Kill, but maybe I'm wrong about that. I think I've read all of them except You Only Live Twice and The Spy Who Loved Me. The Spy Who Loved Me, it might take me a while to get to because I know that that's one where it's like all narrated by a Canadian woman, and Bond doesn't turn up until like well into the third act, which is fine in and of itself. Like outside of Bond, most of what I read is probably like by women authors. It's not a sex thing. It's just more that like if I'm reading James Bond, then I kind of want James Bond in it, and also that book was, I think it was kind of an attempt for Ian Fleming to prove his literary worth, which I don't think he needed to do. Amusingly, the story for The Spy Who Loved Me, which ends in Bond saving a woman from assault at a hotel by two thugs, was republished in Playboy under the title Hotel Nymph, which, classy. Next up we have another John Gardner. I think these are mostly Gardner. I don't know why I thought they were all Benson. No deals, Mr. Bond. No deals. I was going to make a deal or no deal joke, but I don't think that's even on TV anymore. James Bond in For Special Services, which kind of makes him sound like a gigolo rather than a spy. More Moneypenny Diaries. I rather prefer the look of this one. Can't remember the name of it now, but there's... Oh, Modesty Blaze. It's like a spy series from the 60s. about a female spy called Modesty Blaze. I remember I had one, not Modesty Blaze, but it was another female spy called Honey something, Honey West, and the cover of it was a photo of a woman with a blouse ripped open exposing her bra, and a guy doing that in front of her as if he's about to backhand her, and I'm like, why do you need to do that? I'm pretty sure like that's never been on a Bond cover or like a male spy cover, but because she's a female spy, you have to show her in that situation like that. Shall I read the blurb to this one? Secret Servant. I'm not sure I like the title of that. Let's look at the blurb. From saving spies to private passions. Oof. The secret adventures of James Bond's right-hand woman. Janet Moneypenny may project an image... Oh, it's the same one. It's the same blurb. Is that... No, it's a different title. The last thing she needs is a crisis at work. But the secret intelligence service is in chaos and her beloved James is in danger. Only a woman's touch can save them. She didn't put much effort into the blurbs for those books. Another Moneypenny Diaries, Final Fling. It's the mid-1960s and James Bond's beloved Miss Moneypenny combines forces with him to smoke out a mole that she is... I'm just hearing the Austin Powers thing in my head. Mole, mole, mole. Terrible. Smoke out a mole that she is convinced is buried deep in the heart of MI6. A dangerous mission takes her from the glamour of Jamaica to the treacherous beaches of the Outer Hebrides. It puts her on the map as a spy too, until she breaks the cardinal rule of espionage and risks everything by penning an explosive private diary. That was a bit stupid of her, wasn't it? That doesn't make... The last sentence of that doesn't make her sound like interesting. It makes her sound like a bit of a moron. Dear diary, I did a load of secret spy shit. Oh, I just swore. Kicking off YouTube. Oh, this is a Jeffrey Deaver one. Carte Blanche. Really don't like that cover. Again, it's like bland. I'm picking up a James Bond novel. I want like excitement and cheese. I don't want literary fiction. Thousands will die. It is not known where or how or who is behind the threat, so they just gave up and went home. No, that's not what it says. 007 is given carte blanche to do anything necessary to protect his country, but there is no blank slate when innocent lives are at stake. The only suspects are career killers with no care for civilian victims. Bond must find out who is paying them, what they plan, and stop them, and he has 5 days to do it. I like that. At the times when I was reading it, I was like, is that a bit vague? But no, it's intriguing. Run out of space to put these books. So keep me busy for a few months. Ah, another novelisation. Oh, this is a gorgeous cover. I love that. Look at that. That is pure cheese. He's so tanned. He doesn't even look like Roger Moore. He looks like a Madame Tussauds waxwork. The new Bond movie from United Artists. I love novelisations for this reason. I don't think it has any photos though, which is a shame. All cigarette adverts, because books used to come with those, and I love that. But no, nothing like that in here. Drax is no gentleman. He cheats at cards, and he plans to murder 8.25 million people in 36 seconds. I feel like that's a bit of a jump. He cheated me in Monopoly, and he murdered someone down the road. I don't think they belong in the same sentence. It's up to James Bond, Agent 007, and his nearly nude sidekick Holly. Why is she nearly nude? To teach the man proper manners. This is wonderful, I love this. Fast, before his orbiting superweapon strikes, James Bond is back. In every field there is one name, whether it is Rolls-Royce, Chivas Regal, or James Bond. Those are 3 names. That means quite simply, the best. Oh, in every field, to be fair. Yeah, that's amazing. I love this one. I'm going to have a look at the first sentence. The 747 was flying high, nosing aside wisps of cloud as a celebrity might brush past eager reporters. Very good. And some more novelisations. The Spy Who Loved Me, The film, naturally, very different to the book. The film, as I recall, is about like a psychopath who wants to submerge the entire world in water. He essentially takes that Little Mermaid song, Under the Sea Too Far. I read this one recently. This is Colonel Sun by Robert Markham, which was a pseudonym for Kingsley Amis, who was a literary and comic writer, comic as in comedic, who decided to write a Bond book. He liked experimenting with genre, and it was alright, it was pretty good. Not up to the Fleming standard, just because I don't think Amos really grasped the very particular pulp thing that Fleming was doing. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the character of Colonel Sun, who is and well, he's described here as a, oh, that's not great at all. Can I read that for YouTube? I guess I've trumped it up now, so I have to. Forgive me. This is clearly a very, very old paperback, which is why it's okay describing. Oh, it's not even describing Colonel Sun. It's describing Marta Harris. Oh, no, sorry. No, it is describing Colonel Sun as a slit-eyed oriental sadist. Oh, that's awful. This is a very old book. I think this might have been published in the 60s, which I think is when it originally came out. Let me have a look. Yep. This edition published 1969. So, I'm not saying that phrase again, but hopefully that won't get me. Well, demonetised. I'm not monetising these, but hopefully not kicked off YouTube or cancelled or something. Yeah, that's really bad. John Gardner, Scorpius. I like that. Looks almost like a Guy and Smith pulp horror novel. A young girl's body is fished out of the Thames, very sad but not so extraordinary, if you say so. That is, not until Special Branch discovered two unusual items. The only telephone number in the late Emma Dupre's diary was Bond's. Also a new kind of credit card, apparently legitimate but unknown. Ooh, saucy. James Bond in Icebreaker. Yep. This is a Raymond Benson. Oh, this is a lovely cover. It's a modern one, but I do like that. The hook in the eye. Lovely. Oh, this is the latest Kim Sherwood one. I think she's written 3, and I didn't read the second. I liked the first one, Double or Nothing, but again, it just felt weird that it was a Bond but without Bond in it. And also it's quite soapy. There was a lot of like relationship drama going on, which isn't particularly to my taste. But this is A Spy Like Me by Kim Sherwood. I will say, although her style is, or at least in Double or Nothing, quite soapy, she might be, of the very few non-Fleming Bonds that I've read at this moment, like the best writer on a sentence-by-sentence basis. Maybe Benson or Gardner will prove to be better, but she's like the most literary one I've read so far, who isn't Ian Fleming. Nobody Lives Forever by Raymond Benson. No, sorry, John Gardner. It's just because that's a white cover, I thought it was a Benson. Oh, I rather like this one. Sort of like, almost like a foil cover. James Bond in Win, Lose, or Die. Blimey, Rock, Paper, Scissors has gotten more intense since I was a kid. James Bond in Broken Claw, doing what I've heard described as the bisexual pose there. It's another John Gardner. I like these pocket-sized books. Ones that look as though they could fit in your pocket. This is License to Kill, that's another novelisation. Novelisation of a Bond film that I think is underrated. I didn't much care for the first Timothy Dalton, which was The Living Daylights. That was a bit like overly convoluted. License to Kill was a very atypical Bond in that it was really a rape revenge thriller. And it had a really nasty opening with a Mexican drug lord flogging a woman with some birches. The same friend who made the comment about Christmas Jones, I took to see License to Kill. I could see him like squirming when that opening happened, be like, "Oh, that's it's nastier than I'm used to in Bond." And the film is like very moody and gruesome in a way that Bond tends not to be. I think it was like responding to like a period in the 80s that was very focused on violence. The Man from Barbarossa by John Gardner. Kind of a Boys from Brazil cover there. Roll of Honour, John Gardner. The Facts of Death by Raymond Benson. I'm really going to enjoy working through these. Speaking, there wasn't Die Another Day that Christmas Jones was in. It was The World Is Not Enough. I've been lying to you all this time. Die Another Day was has one of the most ridiculous Bond plots. Mostly, well, all of it's ridiculous, but there's like one detail. Can I spoil it? I guess I shouldn't. But there's a guy who has like diamonds embedded in his face, and another guy who has plastic surgery to turn from one type of person into another type of person, and it's just the silliest thing in the world. And at the end, he's almost in like a kind of mecha suit. It's very daft. But that's Die Another Day. Same friend I saw the other two films with. I took to see that, and he started writing something in the notes app on his phone during the Bond song over the opening credits, which was by Madonna. And he showed it to me, and it just said something like, "This song is awful." It's like that Madonna period where she would put this thing in her songs where she would stop and start them, so it would go, "Die another day, die another day." I didn't mind the song, but I don't mind Madonna. Die Another Day. That was the film that I think it was a few films in the early 2000s that were like, the sound of them was too loud. The other one I remember is like 13 Ghosts, which was a horror film, and the sound in that was like so overdone that when I'm watching it, it was like, because it's just constant bang, 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 bang. And Die Another Day was like that as well. My friend had like headphones that he had to put on through the movie, and I was like doing that as well, doing it with my fingers like that, because far too loud. But kind of an enjoyable film. It's maybe the stupidest Bond film, but I like it. I like all the Bond films. Oh, and this is Double or Nothing, which I've already read. Kim Sherwood. That one has a great Bond villain name, Sir Bertram Paradise, who's a tech billionaire. It's a good book. It's for my personal taste. I'm just like, I want to see Bond. When are they going to get to the fireworks factory? That's my basic attitude through all of it. So those are the Bond books that I've very kindly been sent. I'm very looking forward to the reading the TV guide, the short story in that. And yeah, hope you enjoyed.